what's up, everybody? I'm Bob Walters. This is Locked Up Sports. Welcome to the show. We are just a few hours away from the tip-off of what should be an excellent national championship game. Michigan and UConn. UConn really an underdog here, pretty heavy underdog. Michigan has plowed through this tournament, dominating for much of the season. They were blowing people out by 40 points in the beginning of the season. They had a little bit of a lull, but they have been back to their dominant selves here in the NCAA tournament. And tonight, it all comes down to this. Tonight, Michigan, UConn. Michigan going for one of the most dominant tournament runs that we've seen in recent history. UConn going for just straight history and a dynasty, which is so hard to come by in this day and age in college basketball. Some of you have your bracket. Some of you have these teams in the brackets still available. I know Brett in the bracket pool that we're in. Brett will win his bracket pool, or will win the bracket pool. If UConn wins, he finishes third. If Michigan wins, so if you're still alive in your bracket pool, then congratulations. I'm not. I have Michigan winning the title in mine, and I'm still out of it. So that's how it goes. First off, I want to thank everybody who has wished me a happy birthday today. I am halfway to 90 today. Halfway to 90 today. So I still feel like I'm 20, but I'm not. I'm halfway to 90. So thank you to everybody that's wished me happy birthday on social media and then text messages and DMs and wherever else. I've had a good day, just relaxing. Got out of work, didn't have to do overtime, so there was that. If you'd like to call in to the show, give us your pick for tonight. Tell us you're still in the bracket pool. Give us an overview of the game, what you think, how you think it's going to play out. That little QR code in the corner, bottom left, will connect you right to the show. We'll put you right on, and you could wish me a happy birthday, and you could tell us about the game tonight, all in one fell swoop with just a scan of the QR code. So listen, the game tonight, the big story obviously going in is the injury, Michigan, and the injury that was suffered on Saturday night to Lendenborg. He is going to play. No surprise there. Like, he clearly was going to play. You knew he wasn't going to miss this for the world. But the question is how effective can he be? I mean, he's a big guy. He's got a knee and an ankle injury all on the same leg. He didn't play much after he hurt it the other night, but he also didn't have to play because Michigan just, ran Arizona right out of the gym in one of the more shocking semifinals that we have seen. That was supposed to be the great game. It'd come down to the final possession. Whoever has the ball last. Both teams dominant throughout the season, and Arizona just no-showed. They no-showed the game. That's it. That's all you can say, because that game was over. It was over before it started, basically. It was never close. It was 10-1. It was 16-5. It was 23, 11. It was never close. I think they got it to within 5 points at one point during the first half. It would then ballooned back up to 18 or 19 at the half. And then Michigan came out, started hitting threes in the beginning of the second half, and they just blew it out, and it was over. So Michigan didn't need to play Lendenborg tonight. It's going to be interesting. And listen, Michigan's a better team than UConn. They have more talent. They're bigger. They're faster. But UConn is just something about them, right? There's something about Hurley and his teams. All they do is cut down nets. They are undefeated in this game. They're 6-0 in this game. They've won all 6 of their championships since 1999, since when Calhoun hit the run. And now Hurley, and they obviously have a magical run this year where they're not as good as the 2 previous ones, right? They're going for 3 out of 4. 3 in the last 4 years if they win tonight. And I'm telling you, they're not as good a team. They're not as fast. They're not as big. But be careful picking against them, because they are about they win. They might not be as good, but they win. Now, Michigan's a 6.5 point favorite. They were installed a 7.5 point favorite earlier, right after the game the other night on Saturday night. It's only moved a point, which means that there is a good amount of money coming in on Michigan, because I expected it to probably go down to 4.5 by the time the game starts, and I don't think it's certainly not going to drop 2 more points. It might get down to 6, but it's not going to go down to anything below that. So you're looking at a 6-point line And that means that there is money coming in on Michigan. And I expect a lot of money to come in on UConn and have this thing kind of drop down to 4. It hasn't. And that tells you that maybe the knee and the ankle isn't as bad as we think it might be. Maybe Lindenborg is going to play the big minutes tonight. I don't know what it is. All I know is be careful betting against UConn. Because, like I said, all they do is cut down nets. They are in this every time. Almost, they're undefeated in this game. But when they get to the Final Four, they finish. Right? They finish with championships. Now, this is a weird team for Hurley, right? They didn't win the Big East regular season. They didn't win the Big East tournament. I'm trying to just hold on one second. I'm just trying to see something real quick here where we're on. Okay, just wanted to make sure we were streaming live everywhere. They didn't win the Big East tournament. They didn't win the Big East regular season, so they didn't win either of them. And now, here they are, back in the Final Four. Now, it took a miracle all-time shot in the Elite Eight, and then it took a good dominating performance the other night against a team in Illinois that was probably more talented than they were in that game as well. They weren't the better team in that game. They played better from start to finish. They controlled the tempo. Hurley was able to keep the team slow, get them into their set. Don't let Illinois run. And that's what they got to do here tonight too. Because I'll tell you what, if they have to run with Michigan, they will lose. Because they're not as talented. They can't play this game in the 80s or the 90s. They will lose if they play this game in the 80s or the 90s. That's just the bottom line. They're going to have to control the tempo. They're going to have to slow it down, get into their sets, play their offense, and they're going to have to hit their shots. And I think Karaban, the first couple of games of the tournament, Karaban was the best player, the most important player on UConn, and then he's just disappeared. Now, he's a good player, so he does still do other things, and he realizes when he's not hitting shots, he'll go to the hoop. He'll go drive to the hoop. He'll get to the foul line. He hits his free throws. He does do stuff like that, and he's still somewhat productive in the offense, but they need him to hit his shots. He was scoring 22 points a game early in this tournament. He scored 22 in the opening game. He scored 27 in the second round game, and then it just went down to nothing. And he did hit the biggest shot, besides Mullins against Duke, that drew them within one late in that game. He hit big free throws on Saturday night against Illinois to put the game away late in that game. But they're going to need him to hit shots. They're going to need him to hit threes. Mullins is going to hit his threes. Mullins is a great shooter. Forget about the all-time shot that he has, the all-time March moment shot that he has. Besides that, he's a great shooter. That's why he was able to hit that. But Karaban, he still shoots, which you like. Because if you're a shooter, you just shoot. Keep shooting. It's not going down, keep shooting. It'll eventually start to go down if you're good enough. Hasn't for the last 2 games. They're going to need him to hit some shots here at this point. They're going to have to hit their shots. They can't go cold. They got to keep Reed out of foul trouble. Huge right there. If you're 6 minutes in the game, Reed has 2 fouls, and he's on the bench, big trouble. Big trouble for UConn. If they could keep Reed in the game, out of foul trouble, have him do his thing down low, if Karaban can hit some shots, and if they can control the tempo, and if this thing's close coming down the stretch, I'm betting UConn. Because all Hurley does is win. He gets to this game and he cuts down the nets every time. 6-0. It doesn't matter if the team's better than him. Now, he did. The 2 previous ones were better teams. They were dominant teams. The first one that he got was an unbeatable team. They rolled through the regular season. They rolled through the tournament. It wasn't even close. Last one, not as good, but still a better team than this one. This one's been inconsistent. They lost twice to St. John's. Right? They got blown out by St. John's in one of those games. The first game at the Garden, blown out. Then they came back and they beat St. John's by 40 points. And they played in a Big East that was not very good this year. Only sent 3 teams to the tournament. They didn't even win that conference, neither the regular season or the tournament. And yet here they are Monday night playing for a national championship. And Hurley going for his 3rd title. When you win 3 titles, now you're talking like elite of the elite coaches. He's going for that level type of stuff. You're talking like Krzyzewski and Bob Knight, stuff like that. Like that's where he's gonna be, in the history books. If he wins another 3 and 4 years, Caravan is looking to become, because he's the only one. He's the only one on the team for all three. If they get this one, he's looking to become the only player in history not to play for UCLA, where they won 10 in a row, not to play for UCLA to win 3 and 4 years. So he's looking to become an iconic college basketball March player. And that is what is at stake for him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if he hits his shots, they can win this game, and he could be that iconic March player. And this would be probably their most impressive run, because the team is not as dominant as it was. But it's not going to be easy. You're going up against a Michigan team who, listen, earlier in the season, Michigan was blowing teams out by 40 points. They were 25-point favorites against other Big Ten teams, and the Big Ten was the best conference in the country. That's something that, and now they did have their lull in the middle of the season. They lost a couple of games. They did lose they're also not a conference tournament champion, because they lost the final, the selection Sunday. They lost the final of the Big Ten tournament, that last game before, I think it's the noon or the 2 o'clock game, whatever it is, before the selection committee actually puts out the show and the brackets. Michigan lost that game to Purdue. So they didn't even win their conference tournament. You got two teams here, neither of them have won a tournament championship this year. And it's fascinating. Like I said, Michigan's 6.5-point favorite. They deserve every bit of to be a 6.5-point favorite. I am a bit surprised that it didn't go down more, though. I expected 4.5, 4, maybe 5. 6.5 seems like a lot. If I'm betting with the line, I'm going UConn, because I think it's going to be close. I can't see them getting just run out of the gym tonight. Now, if they want to try and run with Michigan, if Reed gets in foul trouble, if the shots aren't going down for UConn, then it could get up to, they could lose by 15. But I don't see that happening. It doesn't happen to UConn teams in the title game. It doesn't happen. So why would it happen tonight? Michigan, best team since the Fab Five. They haven't won in a while. They're here. They've dominated. They blew out an Arizona team that a lot of people thought was better than them. They blew them out. I mean, it was non-competitive the other night. Game was over 5 minutes in, 10-1. It was over. The Arizona guards were terrible. They were in foul trouble. They even got Michigan's best player or best big man, rim protector, out of the game with an injury, and they still lost by 25 points or whatever it was. So they didn't get the Arizona team that everybody knows that played all season, that dominated, was supposed to come in here and give an epic battle with Michigan. They didn't get that Arizona team, because that Arizona team didn't show up, and shame on them for that. They got a team, and they just ran, and good for Michigan. They took advantage of it. They ran them out of the gym. And if UConn shows up like that tonight, they're going to get run out of the gym, because Michigan's that good. So if you come half-assed into this game and you're not playing defense tight, and you're not grabbing rebounds, and you're in foul trouble, and the shots aren't going to go down, UConn, that doesn't matter how many championships they have. They'll get run out of the gym, and this thing will be a 20-point game at halftime, and it'll be over. Go to bed at halftime. But that's not the pedigree that UConn has. That's not what they do. So why expect it tonight? I don't know. I got a feeling. I just have a feeling that it could be a UConn night and a coronation, and just the coronation of a dynasty. 3 and 4 years. I mean, that doesn't happen. That's UCLA stuff with Walton and Wooden, and like, that's what that is. 3 and 4 years in this environment, in this transfer portal, paying the players type of situation. That's what that is. And this would be the least likely and least talented one of the three. And the guy that they need to hit his shots tonight, Caravan, has more on the line than anybody else because he will be an all-time iconic March player, college basketball player, champion, being the only player that never played for UCLA during their 10 or 12 or whatever they won in a row, that has won 3 in 4 years. And with that on his shoulders and that on the line and that type of status on the line for him, I think he shows up tonight. And I think he puts up his 17 or his 20 points that we know he could do because he did it in the first couple games. And even with all that going right, it's still going to be tight. Like, you can see a scenario where UConn gets blown out by Michigan. There's no scenario that I can see where Michigan gets run out of the gym and blown out by UConn. So that's why it's going to be tough. That's why you got to make it 6.5. That's why they're 6.5 point favorite. Because UConn's going to have to play their best. And I'll tell you what, with Hurley, yeah, he's a nut. He's a lunatic. With the referee yelling and it's easy not to like them. It's easy not to like Hurley. It's easy not to like UConn. It's easy not to like even now Gino Auriemma with the women after what transpired in that tournament and the way he went after the other coach and the way he went after the referee. But they're easy not to like, but you got to respect it. You got to. This is a little school in Storrs, Connecticut that is on the verge of iconic March Madness history, going up against almighty Michigan, University of Michigan, 100,000 stadium football teams, Fab Five, stuff like that, like Big Ten. This is going to get a big rating. They die to have the Big Ten in there. Big Ten is what draws money and fans to the to college sports. There's nothing bigger than the Big Ten. Yeah, we talk about the Big East here, and we love the Big East, and we watch it, and we're into it. It's not the Big Ten where it's the middle of the country. It's the whole middle of the country. Michigan has like 60,000 students. So, of course, they want them in there. And you get this little school in Storrs, Connecticut, that since 1999 has just been a powerhouse in both men's and women's college basketball. Hands down, they're 6-0 in national championship games. They've only lost once on Saturday. They get here every time they play on Monday, they cut the nets down. The women are even more dominant. They've been to like 25 Final Fours in the last 35 years. And now the women, it's a little more, funneled to, a certain segment of schools. There's like 10 schools that make it. This year was the same Final Four as last year. UCLA ended up winning it, but it was the same Final Four, same 4 teams. But with the men, what Calhoun did, and then he hands it, and then there's a coach in the middle, and then it goes right to Hurley. His father's the iconic high school coach. His brother was Bobby Hurley on the Duke teams with Leitner and all them. And now he's the most decorated of the 3. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody. And like I said, if they win tonight, you put him in the same breath as Calhoun. You put him in the same list as Krzyzewski. In the same bracket as Bobby Knight. These are names that don't get touched. And that's what's on the line for UConn. And they don't lose these games. I don't expect them to come out flat. I really don't. And it's still not going to be easy. Michigan's a dominant team. Michigan's a better team. They're more talented. They're bigger. They're faster. UConn can control the tempo. They have a chance. And I think in tight games, give me UConn. And I don't like UConn. So I'm not sitting here. I'm not a fanboy for UConn. I'm a St. John's fan. I don't like UConn. I don't like UConn. I don't like Villanova. You can't. It's like the Braves and the Phillies. You don't like them. But you respect them. And I think it's going to be just a fight to the finish tonight. I think we're in for a good one. And listen, I could be dead wrong. Because I was dead wrong about the Arizona game. I sat here, right here in this seat, told you and everybody else, listen, Arizona, Michigan, it's going to be a great game, a classic. Whoever has the ball last, it's going to come down to a mistake in the last 30 seconds. It's going to be that tight. Bam, 10-1, 16-5, 20, 23-11, game over. Game over. It was over at halftime. But it's going to be important to see what this injury is like for Michigan. It's a big guy. And now listen, the replacement came in. I forget his name, and he played well the other night. But like I said, there was no competition that night on Saturday. Arizona laid down. It's over. It was over before it started. 5 minutes in the game, it's over. 10-1, it's over. That's not going to happen tonight. It's just not. Now, like I said, if you give us a prediction, call up, scan that QR code in the bottom left corner of the screen, and come on, give us your prediction for tonight. Are you still in the brackets? What are you looking at here for the brackets and everything? I don't see this on. Just want to make sure. Hold on one second. Are we on? I don't think we're on Facebook. If anybody's on Facebook, let me know. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let me get oh, no, not that. But yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be a hell of a game tonight, folks. And if you're in the bracket pool, good luck. I wish you the best of luck, because I ain't in it, and I can't win. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, so there we go. I brought the comments up here. We got people commenting on it. So, let's see if we get some of these comments. Let's see. Was that just all from the other night? Nope, it's all from the other night. So I don't know. I don't know if we're on, if we're not on, but either way, it's gonna be a good one tonight. It's 8:50. It's a 6.5 point line. Give me, if I'm just betting the line, give me UConn. Hands down. Give me UConn. I'm taking UConn money line. I'm gonna throw your caution to the wind. It's my birthday. Maybe we get it. Maybe we win a little bit of money, because they are. What are they? As far as the money line goes, hold on one second. Let me look at the money line. I didn't look at the money line. I should have put it up there, but I didn't. Money line tonight, plus 240, and Michigan's minus 300. I don't think you're getting any value with Michigan minus 300. Think it's going to be close. Give me UConn with the money line. Right? Come on, it's my birthday, baby. Halfway to 90 wins me a couple $100. Put $100 on UConn money line over under 46. I'll tell you what, if UConn wins the money line, it's going to be under 146. If that's what you're looking at there. If UConn wins, the game's going to go under. If Michigan wins, it's probably going to go over. 146 is the number, 146.5, I think. We'll see. But either way, just it's going to be a fantastic game. It's been a good tournament. You had the iconic Duke UConn game. There were some good games in the first couple rounds. There was nothing, no crazy Cinderella. Although you had Tennessee get all the way to the Elite Eight, but then they got blown out. That's the problem with Cinderellas at this tournament. You make it to the Elite Eight. Besides, the Butler, FGCU, and those type of schools, those type of runs, teams get blown out. They don't belong there. I mean, you had Michigan going up against Tennessee in the Elite Eight regional final game, and it was a 40-point win. Nobody wants to see that. And it was the same round that we had the UConn Duke. So I think St. John's made a good run here in this tournament. I think they are in good standing now. They're working their way back towards prominence. In New York City, they fill the Garden now. You got extension for Pitino. I think the tournament is in good shape. I think it's always in good shape, but it's not the NCAA. This is the only thing the NCAA really holds now and still runs. So that's why they hold this grip so tight on this thing, because this is all they got. Football is out of control. It's out of their hands. They don't run it anymore. You got the playoff system coming in. It's not them. It's not the NCAA. Forget it, they're out. And they were the NCAA is the worst of the worst, like the NFL. But as far as the NCAA, they got a grip on this thing still. And yeah, there's the transfer portal. So the transfer portal is going to limit the amount of Cinderella FGCUs and butlers that you get into these games. But that's a once in a blue moon situation anyway. Normally, when you get a Cinderella into the Elite Eight, what happened to Tennessee is what happens. Just blown out, overmatched. Give Michigan, it was a walkover by Michigan. And then they had another walkover of Arizona because they decided not to even show up. And that's Arizona's fault. They gotta live. They gotta live with that. They gotta live with the fact that they didn't show up. You can't. She's not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, Arizona lost a tough one to Michigan, a good Michigan." They could have lost that game, no problem. Michigan's good. Michigan could have lost that game, no problem. You can't no show. You can't no show a Final Four. A national semifinal, and you come out and you were dominant all year, and all you do is have people talking about the winner of this game is going to win on Monday night. They're cutting down the nets, blah, 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 blah. And you come out, it's 10-1, 20-5, and then 28-11. It's over. It's over. 8 minutes into the game. Can't do that. So, then that's something Arizona and their players they're going to have to live with. So that does it. No calls. No, nobody wants to come and come on. Come on and talk. Come on the show. Scan that QR code. Come on. Talk to me. Wish me a happy birthday. Let's get this thing going. Tell me who you got. Are you still alive in your bracket tournament? It's sad that it's sad that I have the winner. I could possibly have the winner and finish out of the money. I mean, come on. I can't catch a break in this damn thing. I'm 45 years old today. I have been in bracket pools, usually multiple bracket pools, probably since I was 15. So you're talking 30 years. I'd say 20 of those years, 25 of those years, let's go 20 of those years, I was in multiple pools. So let's say 2. That gives me 40 plus, it's like 60 or 70 pools I've been in. And not only have I never won, I never finished in them. I finished in the money once. At this point, it's not even about the money. I think you keep the $250 or $300, whatever it is. I just want to win one of these damn things. And it's looking more and more like it's not going to happen. Michigan wins tonight. I had the winner. I had the champion. Still not even in the money. So, but listen, I think you're looking at a good game tonight. I don't think UConn gets blown out of the water like some people think. I think 6.5 is a little high. I think it's earned by Michigan. They more than deserve a 6.5 point favorite coming into this game. But be careful. Like I said, be careful betting against UConn, because all they do in this game is win. All Hurley does is cut down nets. They're going for iconic things here with a win today. Caravan, one of the greatest non-US UCLA college basketball players ever. Hurley, right up there with Knight, right up there with Calhoun. He could pass Calhoun in the first 5 years that he's going to be coaching this team. I mean, it's wild stuff. Like I said, UConn's not a big school. They're a little school in Storrs, Connecticut. And they dominate the basketball world collegiately. And tonight, my prediction is they win again. They cut down the nets somewhere around 11 o'clock tonight, leading into one shining moment. 72-68, UConn wins their third and 4. It's going to be tight. Michigan, listen, I'm not betting against UConn. I'm not picking against UConn. I'm not betting against UConn, even though I did in my bracket pool. And if I had like another 20 points, I'd be rooting hard. I'd be picking Michigan because I'd have a chance to win. Michigan's the better team. Michigan will win this game probably 8 out of 10 times. And I think that's the message that Hurley's going to go there with. Hey, listen, we don't have to beat them in a 3 out of 5. We don't have to beat them in a 4 out of 7. They will beat us 8 out of 10 times. They're better than us. Not tonight. Tonight, it's your time. Tonight is where UConn shows up. Because when you get to the finals, you play UConn, we win. We are UConn. That's the message that I think he's going to go with. He either goes with that or he goes with, listen, we're UConn and they're not. They don't belong here. We are UConn. Nobody beats UConn. He's going to go one of the two. Either everybody against us, nobody beats us. But either way, both of the things are going to have, we're UConn, and what do we do when we get to this Monday night? We win. That's what it's going to be, and that's what it's been. Until they lose, you can't argue with it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining. Again, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I'm halfway to 90. Still got a long way to go. Probably at the under 16 timeout in the grand scheme of things. At 45, I would say right now here, I'm at the under 16 timeout in my life. In the second half. Under 16 timeout, second half. Listen, UConn didn't even get their comeback started until after the under 16 timeout against Duke. So, plenty of time to go. Thank you for the birthday wishes, though. Keep them coming. Who you got? Put it in the comments. Tell us in the comments. Are you still in your bracket pool? Who you got tonight? What's the score? Pick the scores. Anybody gets the correct score, I'll give them something. Tickets to a Mets game. Tickets to Mets Yankees. How about that? You get the correct score in the comments. Leave the correct score. You get it. Mets Yankees tickets to you from me on my birthday. Enjoy the game tonight, everybody. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. Thanks for the birthday wishes.